The news leader, broadcasting for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
There could be more change coming to the open carry law in Texas once the legislature reconvenes. We're sitting down with Dallas attorney Nicole Knox about how the law could be changing. All right, Dallas criminal defense attorney Nicole Knox is in. She's also a Second Amendment specialist. We've asked her to kind of clarify what lawmakers seem to be struggling with. First, I'm just curious about the initial month of open carry. You know, how the media likes to go after anything at this point. If there would have been something come up, the media would have covered it. I haven't seen really anything on open carry. Are you surprised there haven't been any issues that have really come up so far?
Well, I think there have been issues that have come up, Steve. We've seen the issues with the zoos and how to enact the signs at the zoos to make the customers and consumers safe. But largely, we haven't seen any real problems, and I think that's what you're saying.
Have you seen somebody open carrying yourself?
I have not. Have you?
Neither have I. No,
yeah.
I haven't. Not at all. Okay, I think it's interesting. The impression, I guess, that was given today, and that politicians in particular have some questions. What do you see as needing clarifying right away?
I think there's several areas. I think the laws, as they're enacted, leave several, there's several conflicting statutes, there's several loopholes, there's different ways to get around the law as it is. And one way we're seeing that are the business, an increase in signs warning consumers not to carry on business premises.
There's also some question, if police, some different police jurisdictions think they can see somebody with an open carrying and say, let me see your concealed handgun license. Others say not to. One of the lawmakers at the hearing today said that's not what we intended. That's not probable cause. Because they're wearing a gun, that doesn't mean it's probable cause to ask and confront. How might that play out? I mean, does it concern you that nobody seems to know if that's right or wrong, that there are different jurisdictions doing different things, and I don't think that's how it was intended?
It's very concerning to me as a criminal defense attorney, because now not only are we talking about the Second Amendment, but we're talking about the Fourth Amendment. And it was interesting when the bill was passed, it was passed at the last minute. They removed the prohibition from law enforcement being able to do this, being able to approach and ask anyone who's open carrying if they have a license. Now, they're allowed to do that. And if you refuse to show them your license, even if you are licensed, then you can be arrested for refusing.
How about something as simple as unholstering a gun? I've heard police say if you see somebody unholstering their gun, that's not open carrying, that's something more, and you ought to call the police. Is that right or wrong?
Open carry only allows you to holster your weapon. It does not allow you to wave a gun in plain view.
So as simple as, hey, here's, you want to see my gun here, look at it, you would be violating the law, technically.
Technically, yes, you would be violating the law. It does not allow you to unholster your weapon because that's so unsafe.
Right, I got it. Okay, let's talk about this effective notice, and I don't know how much you've heard about that, but you talked about the signage, which I think everyone understands, but there are some business operators who think that means they have to tell people, and that's putting them in a bad situation. Here's somebody with a gun. I have to verbally say, you are not allowed in here, and that makes them feel uncomfortable. Is that right, wrong? How are you reading that? Effective notice.
Effective notice is if the sign is posted outside of the business and it's in compliance with the penal code, which requires several very specific requirements, then they're in compliance with the law and the consumer's on notice not to carry inside that business. There's no requirement for a verbal warning.
And I also thought some of the questions by this one particular business owner talking about, after we've served this guy 3 or 4 drinks, we don't want to have that conversation. That shouldn't be happening. Anybody with a gun doesn't get served drinks, and it's illegal, even concealed carry. That's the rule. All right, campus carry. You hear this concern still with the chancellor at UT, says there's going to be a lawsuit. Do they have grounds? Can they circumvent what happens on their campus from state law? Any way you can see that happening?
There's always room to file a lawsuit in almost any situation, but I think it's kind of similar to what we're seeing with the business owners taking the law into their own hands and putting everyone on notice when they don't want to have to comply with bringing open carry to their businesses. On public universities, what we're seeing is public universities saying we are going to implement policies that specifically tailor to the needs and the safety of our students and our faculty and staff.
It's interesting. Would the students have more voice than maybe a chancellor? I mean, there's a lawsuit threatened by a UT professor saying he should control his classroom. Does he have standing to do that, do you think? you know, what comes into my classroom, my area, my domain? Does that mean anything?
I think he definitely, the chancellor or president, any leader of a public university has the power to influence the university. And when they're allowed to create policies that affect this law, then they definitely have the power. But a professor is a different issue. I think a professor would have to influence the leader of the university.
Okay. Individually, he wouldn't have much juice against a state law.
I think it depends, and I think what we're seeing over and over again in each section of this law is that we really do have a voice, and that's what being an American is all about, is using your voice to affect social change.
And they're still talking, and they clearly have a few things to kind of clean up. All right, Nicole Knox, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you, Steve.